linear transformation, the kernel and range of a linear transformations. Talk about the kernel. Our objective is to find the kernel of a linear transformation, find the basis for a linear transformation's range, rank, and nullity, determine whether a linear transformation is one-to-one or onto, determine whether vector spaces are isomorphic. So, the kernel of a linear transformation, what is this? The word kernel comes from the Old English word kernel, which means a small seed or core. It is related to the idea of something being at the center or core of a structure. Remember, when we create our structure or anything that you want to create, you have to determine the center of that particular structure. And then why we use this in linear algebra? In linear algebra, the kernel of a linear transformation consists of all vectors that are mapped to the zero vector. And this means the kernel captures the core structure of the transformation, and the set of inputs that disappear under the transformation. So when you project or when you equate the transformation to zero vector, all other vectors will be removed, and the one that will be the one that you'll be getting is the core. Okay. The kernel is like a hidden structure of the transformation. It represents a part of the input space that collapses to zero. Just like the kernel of a seed contains the essence of a plant, the kernel in linear algebra contains the essential structure of how vectors are transformed. And you'll see a lot of application of this kernel when you go to higher mathematics. Okay? Let's have now the definition of kernel for linear transformation. Let T again be a linear transformation wherein V maps into W. Okay? And the set of all vectors V in vector space that satisfy the transformation of vectors equal to zero is the kernel of T, and is denoted by ker of T. Again, so for us to get the kernel of the transformation, we have to equate this to zero. Okay. So for example, let transformation 3 by 2 matrix to 2 by 3 matrix. So this mapping is actually getting the transpose of the matrix. Okay. So to find the kernel of T, sometimes you don't need to solve for this, because the only matrix that will satisfy this one is actually the zero matrix. Okay, so because you're getting the transform, if any one or element of the matrix is not equal to zero, and once you transpose this one, of course, that will not be equal to zero anymore. So everything must be equal to zero. So once you transpose, it will also be equal to zero. Okay. Find the kernel of the projection r cubed to r cubed, okay, represented by t of xyz, which is equal to xy0. Okay, so and again, so the linear transformation that projects xyz into vector xy0 in t. So remember, the kernel consists of all vectors lying on the z-axis, because it says there xy plane, and when you equate this to zero, okay, you equate that to zero, your x will be equal to zero and y equal to zero. And of course, z is not there, meaning z can represent any value, which is a parameter, remember. And if that will be the case, c can take any value. All right, and thus the kernel of T is the set of all vectors on the z-axis. And we can represent that as 0, 0, z. And if that will be the case, look at this figure, and you see all the vectors are in the zero the kernel are all in the z-axis. Okay. Find the kernel of the linear transformation from r squared to r cubed. Now, this is example number 4, represented by t of x of 1, x of 2, which is, by definition, so by the transformation defined by this is x of 1 minus 2x of 2, 0, and negative x of 1. So, from two vectors to three components. So two dimension to three dimensions. All right. So to find the kernel, you need to find all x of 1, x of 2 in R squared such that it is equal to 0. So yung all the components here, x of 1 minus 2, x of 2, 0, and negative x of 1 equated to 0, 0, 0 vectors. Remember, because we are getting the kernel. So with this, we have to equate, no? Equate the x of 1 minus 2 x of 2 to 0. Okay, so remember, you will be creating a homogeneous system of equation. Okay, and so you equate the first component and then the second component, and since it's 0, so you have to leave that, and then from there, you see this one, x of 1 is, I have to use this one. X of, from here, negative, so you can say that x of 1 is equal to 0. Then you substitute x of 1 here, x of 1 is 0 minus 2x of 2 equal to 0. So x of 2 is equal to 0. So therefore, you will have x of 1 is 0, so you have 0, then 0, and x of 1 and x of 2 is equal to 0. Okay. Or we call that the 0 vector. Okay. Next, find the kernel of the linear transformation r cubed to r squared defined by this matrix. No, it's defined by this matrix. Okay. 2 by 3. All right. So, solution, your vector, so from r cubed to r2, so your vectors must be 3. Okay, from there, and you have to equate this. Your x must be the vectors, no? X of 1, x of 2, x of 3 must be transformed to two vectors. So you equate that to 0, 0 because you will be, it says in the mapping from r cubed to r squared. So from there, again, you have to create the homogeneous equation. Remember here, your x, no? Because it says here from the definition, the transformation is and t of x and ax. So your a here is the given matrix. So you write now, so you let your x be equal to x of 1, x of 2, x of 3, because we have 3 columns, so x of 1, x of 2, x of 3, and we have to equate that to 0 because that is the number of rows naman. Okay, and then you will be creating again a homogeneous equation. So you equate this one to this one, diba? All right, so this is now the equation, and then the second one. Now from here, yeah, there is the equation, the system equation. We solve for x, okay? Or you maybe use the augmented matrix, no? Solve for x of 1 and x of 2. Then this lead to this to a reduced row epsilon form. Okay, so in here, remember in here, you have x sub 1, x sub 2, okay, x sub 3. This is augmented, not a 0. And in here, you have x sub 2 plus x sub 3 equal to 0. So that's why when you move it here, there you go, we have now that one. And in here, you have x sub 1, uh, 0 x sub 2 minus x sub 3 equal to 0. Then you transpose this to the other side, then you have now this one. Okay, so you can see here that your x sub 3 is your free variable, so you let this be equal to t. Okay, so we substitute now to x sub 1, x sub 2, and x sub 3. So x sub 3 is t, your x sub 1 is x sub 3, which is t, and x sub 2 is negative x sub 3, which is negative t. And from here, the usual thing that we do, we factor out t, and then we have 1, negative 1, 1. All right? So that is now the kernel is t of 1 minus 1, 1. Meaning that's the span, okay? 1, negative 1, 1. So if we, all right. So for example, you have here R5 to R4, and the transformation of a vector is equal to the matrix X. This is actually the definition. No? When you have this matrix, you just get the matrix and then multiply to the vertex. So where X is in R5 because this is, and because of this one, no, R5, yeah, R5. All right, so from there, this is your vertex now. AX, so P of X is AX. So A is your matrix. And then, of course, you have now, this is now your, this one. 5 yan, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you have to use 5 na components. And then we equate that to 0 with 5 components also. And with that, you will be creating a system of homogeneous equation again. And from there, we have to, again, do the augmented matrix and then reduce to epsilon form. This is already now a reduced epsilon form. And again, using the same process, with this one, since we have 5 variables and what we have created now are 3, no? 3 lang, no? Tatlo lang yung we only have 3 leading ones, no? This one, leading ones. Okay, so this is actually our equation. You know? So from here, you have x sub 1, x sub 2, x sub 3, x sub 4, x sub 5. So, and that is equal to 0 na, no? So x sub 1, transpose all the other variables. So you have there negative 2x sub 2 because this is 2. And then this is negative 1, so it becomes now positive. Okay, doing this in process to the rest of the lines. And you see you have here 0 row, so you will have infinitely many solutions. And with this, you see you have x sub 5 and x sub 3 here, which are your free variables. So let that be s and t. Okay. So again, from here, you get your value of x sub 1. If x sub 3 is s and x sub 5 is t, so you substitute here, then you have this first component, and then the next, second, the third is x sub 4. See, this one, x sub 4 is negative 5, negative 4, I should say, t. And you have x sub 5 is 0s, no s. I'll just put it here, 0. Then t. So you have now 2, negative 1, negative 2, 1, 1, 0, 0. There you go. And of course, you factor out. You separate them, diba? The usual thing that we do. And then you have the factor out t. So you have now two bases here. Okay, the negative 2, 1, 1, 0, 0, that's one. Okay. All right, now the range of the linear transformation. How do we get the range? The kernel is one of the two critical subspaces associated with a linear transformation. The other is what we call the range, okay, denoted by range of t. Again, this has something to do with the similar concept or idea in functions wherein we get the domain and the range. Okay, so the range of the transformation from V to W is the set of all vectors W in W. So these are actually the images of vectors in V. So that is the range of T is all the set of all vectors in T, transformation of vectors V, where V is in the vector space V. Okay, so the range of linear transformation is the uh, subspace of W, if that would be the case. And then from this, you see the kernels is actually in the domain, and the image here is in the range. Okay. Okay, so we have another theorem here, theorem 6.4, the corollary. So let the transformation from Rn to Rm be the linear transformation. So that is T of x equal to A of x. Okay. Then the column space of A is equal to the range of T. Column space. Okay. So remember we have talked about that previously. So the range of T is all possible outputs. So the range of T uh, where x belongs to real number in n. Okay. So the number of columns in the matrix. Okay. Your n here is actually the number of columns. Okay. That n is the number of columns. Okay. In the matrix A, from the matrix A. So since the transformation of x, vector x is equal to matrix AX, every output in the linear combination of the columns of A with coefficients given by the entries of X. So that the set of all such linear transformation or linear combinations is exactly the column space of A. So we can say that the range of the transformation is the same as the column space of that transformation or the column space of A. Okay, so let's have an example finding the basis now for the range of a linear transformation. For the linear transformation R5 to R4 from the previous example, find the basis for the range of T. Okay, remember we have this in the previous example. And how do we get the basis? First, we change it to row echelon form. Okay, then we get all the leading ones. Okay, the leading ones appear in column 1, column 2, and column 4. Okay, this one. All right, so the corresponding column vectors of A, all right, this one, column 1, column 2, there you go, and column 4. These are what we call the basis. So as a set, you can write that as B equal to this column, okay? And we can write that in uh, vector form like this one, okay? All right, so let's have the definition of rank and nullity of a linear transformation. Let T be a linear transformation from V to W, okay? Then the dimension of the kernel of T is called the nullity of the of the transformation, and it's denoted by nullity of t. Okay, and the dimension of the range of t is called the rank of t, and is denoted by rank of t. Okay, there's actually a formula for that. So the rank of t is equal plus the nullity of t is n. Okay, n is the number, or n is the dimension of the vector space. And the dimension of range plus the dimension of kernel is equal to the dimension of the domain. Okay, so remember this formula and let's use that one. So from R cube to R cube, so you are asked to find the rank and nullity in a reduced, this is already a reduced transformation, no? So you have there here the ones, no? Already have ones here, the leading ones. There, this could not be your leading one. So it's in the first and second column. So since there are two leading ones, that will be the rank. Okay, and that is the number of bases. Okay, this means that the rank of T is 2. Okay, so therefore, your nullity is 1. So if there are n columns, right? So the dimension of the domain, which is 3, okay, 3 by 3 kasi, minus the rank, which is, and we got that from the number of leading ones in the column, and subtract that, and you have the nullity, the one that is not included, okay? All right, given r raised to 5 to 7, 5 dimensions and 7 dimensions of a linear transformation. Find the dimension of the kernel of T when the dimension of the range is 2. Okay, let's answer that first. So with the theorem 6.5, okay, your n is equal to 5 using the formula, dimension of the kernel is equal to n minus the dimension of range. So it says here that the dimension of range, so from the given here, dimension of the range is equal to 2. So from here, we, dimension of the range is 2. So that's equal to 3. Subtract. Your n is, says here, 5. Okay, short dimension. Okay, and then next, the rank of t. The rank is equal to n, the dimension of the transformation, minus the nullity of t. So again, we have 5 as your n, minus the nullity. It says here, it's given in the problem, nullity of t is, nullity of t is 4. So that's why we have it 4. It was given in the problem. And in letter C, find the rank of the transformation when the kernel is equal to 0. So 0, that means we subtract 0 from the rank of the transformation, which is 5. Okay. All right. The one-to-one and the onto linear transformation. This section began with the question, which vectors in the domain of linear transformation are mapped to the 0 vector? And in theorem 6.2 states that the vector, that if the 0 vector is the only vector in V such that the transformation of V of the vector is equal to 0, then T is 1 to 1. Or you can see here in the figure, okay, the transformation is 1 to 1. And a function from the function of the transformation, which is mapping from V to W, is 1 to 1. When the pre-image of every W is the range, consists of a single vector. Okay, and this is equivalent to saying that the T is 1 to 1, and if and only if for all U and V. And if it is not 1 to 1, you can see that the two vectors map into a single vector in W. Okay. So that this one implies not a one-to-one, but in here, it's one-to-one. And mostly, linear transformation is always uh, implies that it is a one-to-one. But again, you have to check if that is uh, one-to-one transformation. Okay, this is the 6.6. Let T V to W be a linear transformation, then T is one-to-one, and we call that injective one-to-one, if and only if the kernel is zero. So it's a definition, no? If the kernel of the transformation is zero, then it is one-to-one. Okay? The linear transformation of the, this one is the matrix, no? Actually the transpose, again, no? Because the M and the N interchange, is one-to-one, no? Because the kernel consists of all the M by N zero matrix. And the zero transformation of T from R cube to R cube is not one-to-one because its kernel is all R cube. Remember, we can uh, equate this to zero, but it can have several values. Okay, so it will not be a one-to-one. When you equate that to zero, you can have, especially when infinitely many solutions. No, that will not be a one-to-one. Okay. What about the onto linear transformation, which is we call this a surjective? T is onto if and only if the rank of T is equal to the dimension of W. Okay, when the meaning it is not one-to-one, kaya ano siya onto. Okay. And a function T uh, from V to W is onto when every element in W has a pre-image in V. In other words, T is onto when W is equal to the range of the transformation. So again, onto uh, T, a transformation is onto, and T must be able to produce any vector in R. Okay. Let's see that with this example. All right. You are asked to find the nullity, the rank of T, and determine whether T is one-to-one or onto, or neither. Okay. So from A, we have 3 by 3. Then 3 by 2, 2 by 3, 3 by 3 again. So let's have the solution of that problem. Note that each matrix here is already in echelon form. Okay, so its rank can be determined by inspection. Okay, so look at this one for letter A. We already have pivots here, di ba? That is already in echelon form. Same way with letter B. As you can see, no, we already have uh, pivot in letter C and letter D. So how do we determine the dimension of the domain? Of course, that's the number of, we can get it from here, the number of columns. Okay, yan. And the dimension of W, remember the transformation is from V to W, to W. So this is the domain, the V, and the range or the W is this one, okay, 3. All right. Now, how do we get the rank? The rank is the number of, so from here, says here, the dimension of the range. This is also the dimension of range. Okay, it's the same. Is also the rank of the transformation. It's denoted by this, this one. And we can, how do we get the rank? We count the number of pivots. Okay, so the number of pivot here is 1, 2, 3 for letter A. We have 1, 2, and 3. So that is, we have rank 3. And how do we get the null? The nullity is equal to, this is your N, and this is your rank R. Let's name this as R. And so the nullity is equal to N minus R. So we get the difference of this and this one. Okay, get the difference. And that gives us 0. And when it is 0, okay, when that then t is a 1-to-1 if and only if the kernel is equal to 0. This is not the nullity, or this is also the kernel, remember, ker of t. So it is equal to 0, so it is 1-to-1. Now, why it is onto? Onto if and only if the rank of t is equal to the dimension of w. The rank, this is the rank, okay, equal to the dimension of w. So these two are equal. If these two are equal, then we have onto. Okay? What about in number 2? Again, from our n, okay, 2, that's the dimension of a domain, and the dimension of w is 3, the number of rows. How do we get the rank? We take the number of pivots here, and there are 2. So we have 2 here. Then we get the difference of these 2 for us to get the nullity or the kernel. And since it is 0, it is 1-to-1. And since these two are not equal, okay, not equal, so therefore it is not an onto. Okay, next we have here, again, from R3 to R2, 3, 2. And how many pivots do we have? 1, 2. So our rank, or the dimension of the range, is 2. When we get the difference of these two, that gives us 1. So it's not equal to 0, so it's not 1-to-1. But these two are equal. Okay, the dimension of W is the same as the rank of T. So it is on 2. And then the last one here, again from R3 to R3. So the dimension of the domain is 3, and the dimension of W is also 3. And how many pivots that we have for us to get our rank? So we have 1, 2. All right. And we get the difference, these two, the difference is 1. So since it is not equal to 0, so it's not a 1-to-1. And these two are not equal also, not equal. So again, it is not on 2. Okay. Spaces. Okay. What is an isomorphism? A linear transformation that is 1-to-1 and onto is called an isomorphism. Okay, so moreover, if V and W are vector spaces such that there exists an isomorphism from V to W, then V and W are isomorphic to each other. So in the previous slide, we see that there are uh, transformations that are both 1-to-1 and onto. There were two, if you recall. So if that would be the case, then they are what we call isomorphic vectors. Okay, a linear transformation between two vector spaces V and W called isomorphism if, okay, number one, if it is 1-to-1, and if it is onto. 1-to-1 injective, onto surjective. And it preserves vector space addition and scalar vector space uh, addition and scalar multiplication, meaning for all u and v that belongs to a vector space and any scalar c. Okay. Again, for it to be 1-to-1, it has to um, follow the or preserve the addition and the scalar multiplication operations. Okay. Now, two finite dimensional vector spaces V and W are isomorphic if and only if they are of the same dimension. Okay, again, they are isomorphic if and only if they are of the same dimension. Let's have, it says here, all these vector spaces are isomorphic to each other because they all have uh, space or dimension of 4. Okay, so r raised to 4, of course, that is meaning you have 4 components. Okay, 4 by 1 space, so let's move here. The standard basis for R4 is, remember, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, and to the end is 0, 0, 1. So there are 4. the dimension is 4. What about 4 by 1 matrix? So if there's a 4 by 1 matrix, meaning there are 4 columns, so we need 4 components of the vector. Okay. For a 2 by 2 matrix space of all 2 by 2 matrices, in general, we have this, okay, x sub 1, x sub 2, x sub 3, x sub 4, and it has 4 independent entries. So the dimension is 4. And this one, space of all polynomial of degree 3 or less. P sub 3, remember, when you get the space or the space is actually the coefficients. So a sub 0, a sub 1, a sub 2, and a sub 4, a sub 3. Okay? And then for this vector, x sub 1 to x sub 4, then the last element is 0. X is any real number. This is a subspace of R raised to 5. So the vectors in V have the form x sub 1 up to x sub 4, which means they are effectively in 4-dimensional subspace. The last one is 0. So the uh, variables here are 4. So the dimension of the subspace is of R5 is 4. Okay. All right. So that's the end of this um, lesson. Okay. Try to answer all the exercises. Exercises, you can go through it. I'm not going to explain this anymore. Everything is explained in each exercises. Please study these exercises. Some of this may be included in your examination. Okay.